When you think about rosé wine, Carmela, what comes to mind?
I'd say like fun and frolic and whimsical.
Okay, well, what about flavors?
I would say kind of like strawberry and watermelon deliciousness.
Okay, well, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why, despite all the different kinds of rosés that are out there, what most often comes to mind with rosé is exactly what you're talking about, rosé from Provence, even if you never understood why.
All right.
Hello and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair.
Woo!
We don't actually do crime. I just want people to be clear about that.
Wait, let's keep them guessing.
Okay, maybe we do.
That?
Maybe you have to figure out our crimes.
Look, we look like criminals.
We do.
For sure.
I do. Okay, if you're new to our podcast, here's a quick orientation. Each week we explore a different wine or varietal or blend like Pinot Noir or Bordeaux or Rosé from Provence. And we dive into what makes it unique and special and worth learning about. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to help you expand your wine knowledge in a fun way that normal people can understand.
Got it.
Yeah, and what we also do is we taste and review 2 to 3 wines, each of which is under $20, and we share our scores and recommendations with you to help you find great wines without breaking the bank.
Wow.
That's part of our crime. That's our crime, actually, is breaking the bank.
Right. Holy cow. You're kind of, just like some subtle hints here.
I guess so.
We might be most wanted pretty soon.
We might be. But we are very glad you're here, and we are also proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining. Carmela, we are back with one of our Getting Serious About Rosé episodes, our second, in fact.
I love that. Getting serious because it's not a serious one.
It's not serious,
I mean, maybe people don't want to take it seriously, but
exactly.
But it's serious.
It is serious as we're not even going to say. Okay, so this time we're going to be talking about and tasting and reviewing probably the rosé that everyone thinks about when they are talking about rosé, but they don't know what they were talking about when they were talking about rosé.
Wow, this is confusing.
And that is rosé from Provence, France. I say that because, again, as we have said many times, Carmela, more times than I can even count, and we're going to keep saying it until I have chiseled it into your memory, that rosé is a style of winemaking, not a wine in and of itself. In other words, what I mean by, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Puzzled, right? Like puzzled,
kind
deer
of.
in headlights.
But what I mean by that is you can make rosé out of any red wine grape you want. And so that means, depending on the grape and the winemaker and the way it is made and where it is from, one rosé can be pretty different from another.
True that.
And that is the tricky part, because most people don't realize that rosé is a style of winemaking.
No, they think it's, you had some leftover red and leftover white, and you just said, I'm going to mix this.
Exactly. And so that's why we're talking about rosé from Provence, France, because Provence makes the most rosé in France. About 40% of all recognized rosé production in France comes from Provence, 40%.
Wow.
And France produces the most rosé globally. And in many, many cases, the wine grapes that are used in making rosé wines from other parts of the world are those from the grapes that are used in rosé from Provence. Because Provence Rosé is kind of considered the benchmark. It's the benchmark for rosé.
Everybody's striving to be that one.
Well, and I think everybody, again, it's kind of popular, and that's what people think of when they think of rosé, even though it's not the only rosé out there. And we'll talk more about rosé from Provence in a minute and the grapes that it's made from. But I want to stay on my editorial commentary, Carmela.
All right.
Because we often hear people say that they don't like rosé, or they don't want to drink rosé.
Right. Or like a rosé is like not real wine.
Exactly. And I think a huge part of that is because, again, when they think about rosé, they think all rosé wine is the same, and they think it's rosé from Provence. And it's not. And by the way, some people love rosé from Provence, but some people don't. But that's not the only kind of rosé out there.
Right.
It would be like you saying that you don't like red wine when the only red wine you've ever had is Cabernet Sauvignon. Or that you don't like white wine when you've only tried one kind of white wine.
Right.
Because again, just like the taste and experience of a red wine or a white wine is impacted by the grapes it's made from and the winemaker's talent and the area it's from and all that jazz, the same can be said about rosé wine.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Don't sleep on rosé wine.
Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. As we mentioned in our last episode on getting serious about rosé, a good place to start if you really want to experience rosé and see if you like rosé is by trying a rosé that comes from a red wine that you already like.
Got it.
Because after all, rosé gets its color from the fact that it's made from red wine grapes. I almost can say that. And there is some contact with the skin of the grapes, which creates the color. And the flavor of that wine grape is what will impact the flavor of the rosé. Makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
And also, I'll make an admission here. Yeah, since I'm admitting to crimes, I'm also going to make an admission to this. I don't think we've always loved rosé that comes from Provence or is in the Provence style.
And why is that?
Because I think it's a little fruity. It's a little like, I don't know. It's kind of
not our style.
Yeah, it's kind of a particular style. It can seem kind of sweet, but you know what? We're going to keep an open mind. We're not going to be judging.
Do.
Yeah.
Or at least I do.
And we're going to give it a fair shake. We have 2 rosé wines from Provence that we're going to taste and review, and both of them have good ratings. So we're not trying crapola.
No.
And we're going to learn more about rosé from Provence and why you should care. But first,
you got to do our shameless plug.
That's right. So thank you for listening to us and for supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be a great time to follow and subscribe to the podcast. And another great way to support us is to leave us a nice rating and review. 5-star rating, nice review, greatest podcast ever. I think they do crimes, but they make a really good podcast.
Wow. Yeah. Criminal wine drinkers.
Exactly.
Love it.
And you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines we are tasting and trying today and weird AI pictures that I like to make on Instagram at the Wine Pair Podcast. And you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com, and sign up for our email newsletter there. I'm getting choked
okay?
up.
I mean, dude, you sound like you're about to cry. Is this emotional for you?
Well, you know what is emotional for me?
What,
that
honey?
I think a lot about this podcast, and we want to make content that you care about.
Did somebody want us to talk about this?
Yeah, somebody actually, no, somebody did say,
No.
hey, yes, they did.
Okay.
More rosé stuff, so that's why we're doing more rosé stuff. But
that was actually me.
It was Carmela, by the way, everybody.
I was like,
she
really?
emailed me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com
Right.
and
I
said,
just
hey,
said, hi,
Joe,
this
can we
is
do this?
Connie. I just, came up with a name. And
Carnimella. Yeah. And so, but we want to do that for you. So if there's a wine you want us to try or an area of the world's wine that you want us to talk about and taste, let us know.
But if I did that, would you listen to me over
Always.
an email like that?
Always listen to you.
Really? I'm going to try it. I might try it, guys. Let's see. We'll see. If you give me a shout out or something.
Do it. Yeah. Give Carmela a shout. Make her feel good.
If you give me a shout out on the podcast.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about the people in the listening line. You want me?
No.
And this week, we got a recommendation. We got an ask from Carmela out there.
I think she's a regular listener.
I think she really likes me. I don't know. Okay, anyway, as we do every week, we'll tell you someone.
Stalker.
Woo! We'll tell you, she wants to stay with me. I don't know. We'll tell you someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair podcast to, because after all, the best way for us to get new listeners is when you say, hey, these guys are good. They may do crimes, but they make a good podcast.
Right, after all.
That's right. And this week, we want you to recommend us to anyone who says that they love rosé, because our guess is that they actually mean rosé from Provence, even if they had no idea that was what they meant.
Oh, okay. Like, that's confusing, but, whatever.
Whatever. Live and learn.
But whatever you can, take from that, just run with it.
Take it. I don't even know what I'm talking about
I know,
anymore.
yeah. I mean, that went right over my head. But no, I'm sure everybody else got it. Crystal clear.
On that note, Carmela, let's talk about what the Provence Rosé is, okay? Should we do that? Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. When you speak, you begin with ABC.
When you drink, you begin with
Rosé me.
No.
Okay, anyway. So according to an article I got on the interwebs, which you can find on our show notes. We have show notes, by the way, Carmela, if you go to our website and look for this episode. Anyway, Provence is known as the first wine region of France. Mm-hmm. And it started about 2,500 years ago when the Greeks came and settled that area. And according to the article, which is probably right because it's found on the interwebs, the region became known for rosé early on in its history. But I don't know how early, because they didn't say exactly how early, but it was early. They said early on.
Yeah.
They said early on. Now, in the Middle Ages, a little bit later, right? Monks in Provence started taking over rosé wine production, believe it or not, because they needed something to do. And they were well known for making excellent wine because, after all, who doesn't think about monks first when they think about wine?
I mean, always.
Exactly.
Always.
I do. I know I do.
Right.
In more recent times, the first AOC, which is the official designation of a recognized and legally protected wine area in France, that's what they call it, an AOC. In the US, it's an AVA. In Italy, it's a DOC, whatever. It was Côte de Provence, and it was established in 1977. And then 2 more AOCs came into being in the 80s and 90s. One is called, I had to look these up, Côte d'Aix in Provence and Côte Verrois in Provence.
Okay.
So there you go.
My goodness.
Now, as we've been saying, a huge part of what makes one rosé wine distinct from another is the grapes that are used. And in Provence, the main grapes they use, and I'm going to say some of these wrong, but they are Cinsault, Grenache, Mourvèdre, Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Tiburon, and Carignan.
Carignan.
Now, here's the tough thing, is that the wines can be made from many different combinations of these grapes, and that can also vary from region to region. And so sometimes you just need to get to know the style and then get to know what the wines in the different areas of Provence are known for, and hopefully also the grapes, even though there are some similarities between the different rosés in Provence. So for example, I know you wanted an example.
I am always looking forward to an example.
I know, she does. Sometimes she
I'm
says,
always like, just give me an example.
Yeah. Stop.
You gotta, show, not just tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
Okay.
So in Côte de Provence, the wines tend to, that's how you say it, Provence. The wines tend to be dry and fruit forward and are known to be flowery. And they're usually made from the grapes Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah. Now, the thing is, it's a huge appellation, it's a huge area, and there can be lots of variations. The main rule is this, is that some combination of Cinsault, Grenache, Mourvèdre, Syrah, and Tiburon have to make up at least 50% of the blend, but not any particular mix of those grapes. It can be one or more, but it has to be at least 50%
has to be made up of those. Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, in Côte d'Aix in Provence, and by the way, the X, that's how you say it, but it's spelled AIX. The wines are similar in terms of grapes, but they are often known for having flavors like you talked about, strawberry, peaches, citrus flowers, and a little bit of slate or stone, and they're high in acid, and so they're good with food. Now, the main difference in grapes is that they'll sometimes sneak in a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon, Carignan, some grape I've never heard of called Counois, and even some white wine grapes, which I found really surprising. But they also require that the blend of the main varietals, Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah, is 50% of the wine.
Okay.
But additionally, at least 20% has to be Grenache. So 50% has to be of those three, but 20% of that total of the total has to be Grenache. And then if you use white wine, you can't use more than 20% white wine.
Okay.
So there you go. It's very confusing.
Very.
Now, in the Côte Verrois in Provence, the rosés must be principally made of Cinsault, Grenache, Mourvèdre, and Syrah, but they're more strict on the amount of each. The principal varietal, so it could be just a single grape, has to be at least 80% of the total. And at least 2 of the principal varietals that I just said have to be at least 90% of the total.
Oh, wow.
So they're much more restrictive. The other 2 were just 50%. Right. These are like 90% has to be of those grapes.
Interesting.
So I would guess there's more consistency in these wines. And they also say that the area has more intense seasons. And so the wines, evidently, they tend to be about a little bit bigger in flavor. And more information in our show notes, which, by the way, we do have show notes if you want to look there.
Nice.
Now, typically, rosé wines are not oaked. The goal is to create a fresh and light and crisp style of wine, which a lot of times is what makes them appealing, especially in warm weather. Summer, drink your rosé, get it nice and cold, maybe put an ice cube in it. You can do it. It's okay.
We will not judge.
If that's what you want to do it, damn it.
You go for it.
That's right.
I don't mind an ice cube. I mean, I don't think I do it very often, but if you do it.
You don't.
I mean, I actually can't think of the last time I did. But if you do it, you do you.
You do you.
Yeah, we're all about that.
Now, the reason I brought up oak, Carmela, changing the subject. No, the reason I brought up oak is because some winemakers are starting to put a little bit of oak in the wine. But, I don't, that's not traditional. And then while rosé wines can vary a lot in color, Provence rosé wines tend to be very light pink in color, almost coral. That's very common.
They're beautiful.
Because you can say they are beautiful. And you see sometimes rosé wines that are pretty dark. Pinot Noir and rosés can sometimes be pretty dark. But these are really light.
Okay, I was just thinking, like with the whole Barbie movie, pink is so in.
Yeah, so a Barbie pink rosé is probably a rosé from Provence.
Okay, and I will say, from where we're at now, there's a fancy restaurant in Seattle called Canlis.
Yes.
And I drove by it today, and it is pink right now for some Barbie celebration. No joke.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
That's do you think they're serving rosé from
I was just going to
Provence?
say, they have very fancy, fun wine. I have got to imagine they're going to be.
Has to be.
They're going to be serving rosé.
I fully agree.
They would fully miss the mark if they don't.
Okay, here's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen out there in listening land, if you're having a Barbie party, especially for your child, please serve rosé from Provence.
If you don't, you
what
probably
goes better
missed the
with
mark.
Birthday cake for a 10-year-old than rosé?
Wait, nobody's saying that.
I did
honey.
say that.
No,
I said especially for your child.
No.
You weren't. You didn't have your listening ears.
I didn't. I was thinking about an adult Barbie party.
Well, actually, here's the deal. Don't serve it to the kids, people. That's silly. Serve them pink lemonade. But for the adults, get a little rosé from Provence, and they'll probably love it.
Fun.
Except for some snooty dude who will be like, I don't drink rosé. Whatever.
Whoa.
Okay.
You're tougher if you do, actually.
You are tougher if you do. Exactly. So, short story is, rosé from Provence, it's going to have a lot of similarities in flavors because of the types of grapes that they use. You do need to kind of pay attention to the region. And it will say, on the bottle, it will say Rosé of Provence, and it will sometimes say, usually will say the further appellation like X, if it's from X. So that's what you need to look for. And then you can decide whether or not you like it, and maybe you need to try some from the different regions to see if you like that one better than others.
Oh.
Because I don't think, again, most people don't really think that there's a difference. They're like, oh, rosé, but it's going to vary.
For sure.
That's what we're trying to chisel into your heads, people.
Wow, again, the crime.
And it's
sounds
like chiseling.
a crime.
Chiseling doesn't sound comfortable.
No.
Okay, Carmela, on that note, should we chisel the wines that we're going to drink today?
I don't know what that means,
I don't
but I'm
either.
just following your lead, as usual.
Sometimes I try to say things. Yeah, sometimes I try to say things off the cuff. I can't even say cuff and not follow the show notes. And it sometimes just falls flat.
Okay, so how do you think I feel? Now you know where I sit, buddy.
I know where you sit because you sit across from me every damn
there's
week.
There's not one computer or script in front of me. So people, if I fall flat every single time, it's because I don't have the script.
That's right. It's true. Okay, as usual, the wines we have chosen for this episode are under $20.
He's testing me every week. Okay, sorry.
And both of them should be relatively easy to find because I bought them from a Kroger grocery store. And I did that on purpose. I really wanted to go to a grocery store rather than a place like wine.com to find the wines for this episode because I wanted to see what was on the shelf in a store that's not a particularly well-stocked wine section of the store. Like I just went to your average next door Kroger grocery store because I wanted to see what was there and could I find Rosé from Provence?
Got it.
Guess what? You can find Rosé from Provence. So you should be able to find these wines that we're drinking tonight very easily, but you should also easily find Rosé from Provence. Just make sure you're looking for that on the bottle.
Okay.
And I wanted to see if I could find wines that I have heard of or that had appealing labels and price points because I think that's also how most of us shop for wine. So again,
especially for a rosé. I think it's going to be a beautiful bottle.
Exactly. So again, you're looking for rosé, look for rosé from Provence, see if you can find different regions and then see what you think. But today, I'm going to go over the two wines we have. The first wine we're going to drink is called the Beach Rosé by Whispering Angel. And I chose this wine because there is a lot of buzz about Whispering Angel Rosé.
Oh.
But Whispering Angel Rosé tends to be a little bit pricier. When I saw it at the store, I almost got it, but it was $30. And I was like, no. So the Beach, which is made by the Whispering Angel, was only $20.
Nice.
So I said, hey, it's got a pretty bottle, a pretty label, it's pink, And I think people would gravitate towards that. So I wanted to try it and see what we think.
Okay.
Now, the Beach Rosé by Whispering Angel is what the winery calls the little sister to Whispering Angel wine. Now, this is a wine from the Coteau d'Aix in Provence. And what they say about this specific wine is that they are focused on sustainability and beach preservation, which sounds nice.
I love that.
Yeah, and they also claim to harvest some of the wine in small crates.
Right.
But then they also say they are often mechanically harvested at night.
Oh.
So I don't know.
What?
I don't know how to put all this together.
No.
So I think this is because they make a lot of damn wine and they use a lot of technology in making this wine. So this is not some small handmade wine. And they do talk about how they make the wine on their website. But I kind of found that they were a little bit cagey about delineating between how the Beach is made and regular Whispering Angel and their other wines are made. They just kind of like talked about it in general. So I don't know what.
Maybe it's on purpose.
It is on purpose. I feel like they're being cagey. And they said that this wine, the Beach, is about sustainability, but they didn't talk about sustainability.
All I take from that is like, you should be drinking this on the beach.
There.
It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You said the beach.
Let me drink it. Exactly.
I'll be there.
And they were also cagey about the grapes that they used. So the best I could tell is they were made from a blend of Grenache, Cinsault, and Carignan, but they don't tell you what the percentage is. So on those things, I'm already kind of getting a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth about this wine, but we're going to be open-minded.
Why did you then get this wine, honey?
Well, because, again, Whispering Angel, very popular.
Okay.
The Beach is made by Whispering Angel.
Okay.
It was the right price point, had a pretty bottle. So I thought,
no
here
prejudging.
we go. No, like we're going to do it.
Okay.
And it's a rosé from Provence. Okay. So anyway, now, by the way, Wine Enthusiasts did give this wine an 88 rating. So, it's supposed to be decent. Okay. The second wine we're going to drink is the Aix Rosé, which from its name, you can tell is from the Coteau d'Aix in Provence. Now, the X is spelled A-I-X. So when you see that, that's what I'm talking about. It's not a big X, it's A-I-X, but it's pronounced X. That's as close as I can get.
Perfect sense to me.
Yeah. It's as close as I can get. And in this wine, we actually have the grape blend, which I really like. 60% Grenache, 20% Syrah, and 20% Cinsault. And this wine got a 93 rating from the tasting panel and a 90 rating, surprise, surprise, from James Suckling.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
He never gives 90 ratings.
He keeps us on our toes, for sure.
Okay, if you know us, that's a joke. He gives a 90 rating to everything. Okay, the Aix winemaker also claims to be focused on sustainability, so that's nice. And they say they have high elevation and sustainable wine growing practices. And the website, which we have a link to in the show notes, gives a lot more information about the wine, including the weather the year the wine was made was like. They talk about things like using organic matter and cover crops in their farming practices. So I actually believe, because they went into it, that they do sustainable farming. They do.
Okay, that was
and actually
12-year-old boy joke.
Well, do is part of sustainable practices, by the way.
Right.
But I really appreciated these explanations of the winemaking process. I think that's really cool. So I'm not trying to be biased, but I do prefer seeing that information.
Sure.
And, it makes me trust them a bit more and feel less icky. And that's a technical term, icky, than I do about the Beach, which feels like...
That was in the script, icky?
Icky.
Okay.
Yeah, icky.
Okay.
But the Beach feels a little bit like me. It might be some like mass-produced monstrosity, but we'll find out.
Okay.
So I think that's enough information. That's a lot of talking.
Wow.
So I think we need to get drinking. If you have a rosé and you're not driving your car, then please drink along with us. If you have a rosé from Provence, even better, you'll get participation points.
Do you get more if it's from Provence?
Oh, yeah. You get double the participation points.
Awesome.
Just let me know. I'm keeping track.
Okay.
And
you should see his Excel sheet with all of your participation points.
It's huge.
It's amazing.
It's huge. Okay, we'll be back in a second. Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is the Beach Rosé by Whispering Angel. It is from the Coteau d'Aix in Provence in France. It's a 2022. It was $18.99 on sale. I'll just note it's on sale, but you know what? Buy wines on sale. It's a good idea. We got it at QFC, which is one of our local Kroger stores. It's 13% alcohol, so it's a little bit up there. And again, a blend of Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah, and Wine Enthusiast gave it an 88. Why don't you just say, first of all, it's a screw cap, so that's kind of fun. And you kind of
cute.
You like the bottle.
I love the bottle, the top, the whole thing. It's definitely like
a beach vibe.
You almost don't want to. I mean, it's inexpensive enough. You can have it any day of the week, but it's such a cute little party wine with the pink label, and love it.
And it's super pink,
It's
like
so
super light
pretty,
pink.
Pretty. And it does. It smells like a rosé.
What do you smell?
I'm getting definitely some strawberry, and I want to say some stone too. I feel like it's kind of a rock pebbly taste or smell to it, but it's definitely strawberry. What are you getting on it?
Yeah, definitely getting strawberry. I'm getting some citrus. I'm also getting a little bit of watermelon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure.
There's a little watermelon lemonade going on there.
Ooh, yeah. Or even like a lime. A little bit of limey too in that citrus. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice. It smells nice.
Are you getting some stone on it?
Yeah, I definitely am. They often say minerality. If you hear minerality, they just mean stone. It's like licking a stone. Okay, let's try it and see what we think.
Ooh.
Actually,
nice.
It's very nice.
Very nice. It's mellow.
It's very mellow. It's got a nice kind of like strawberry front end. It's got a lot of citrus on the back.
It does, but it's not, it's smooth and pretty clean. And yeah, I am getting a little bit of a bitter or bite at the end.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But that bitter citrus is lingering.
Yeah, but in a nice way.
I think it's very, you can taste that it's acidic. I think it would be good with food. It does kind of, the fruit flavor goes away fast, but it's nice.
Definitely on the front end.
It's definitely on the front. It's nice and cold. So, we're also, that kind of tamps down the flavors probably a little bit, but I think you want this really nice and cold.
Yeah. No, I think it would be very good with food. I think it would actually be better with food. It's not, I mean, you can have it as a little summer sipper, but I think it would be nice with something light, like charcuterie. I just think like an appetizer wine.
You know what I'm getting the flavor of? Is watermelon rind. Just when you're biting that last bit of watermelon and you're getting into the white
which
part.
Is a little bitter.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
And not quite as sweet.
No, exactly. No, exactly. I just said that twice.
What would you have with it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's crispy. It's a crisp, crisp, clean wine. I think it would be good with chicken dishes, charcuterie. I think it's a good before. Actually, I think you could have it throughout the meal. I mean, you're not going to have a big steak with it, but that's, it's fine. Seafood would be really nice.
You know what would be good too with this? I mean, I don't know why. I'm thinking like an egg roll or something, or gyoza. I'm thinking kind of, I don't know, a little bit of spice along with it too.
I think spicy foods, Asian foods would be really good with it. I do. I think it's pretty nice. It's a pretty pleasant wine.
It's very summery though, and very beach heavy. I mean, even I know the reason why it's called the beach, but it is like palm trees on the label, so it's almost like beach party backyard barbecue feel too.
I agree. That maybe I'm just I've become more accustomed to it, but I have a hard time thinking that somebody's going to go, "Oh, I just don't like that wine." It's pretty nice. It's kind of harmless. It's not
it's pretty balanced.
Yeah, it's not a big punch you in the face Cabernet, but it's nice. It's nice tasting.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a rating. So as a reminder, everybody, on a rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10, where 7 and above means we're going to buy it. 4 below means we're going to pour it down the sink. We don't do halvesies. We only do whole numbers. And if we rate it between those, so a 5 or a 6, it means, hey, it's good enough to drink. We'll drink it, but we might not get more, and we're not going to buy it. How about that? So Carmela, with the Beach by Whispering Angel, what would you give it?
So I'm definitely buying it just from the look of it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely, this is a great gift too.
Oh, good gift wine.
So cute. Especially if you are, going to a summer party, beach party. This is awesome for that.
I agree.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I just think it's got a lot of personality and I think it's delicious.
I think this is right up your alley too. I see you having this and going, oh, this is so good, and enjoying a glass of this wine before dinner or with dinner or whatever. So I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
It's definitely, I would buy it. If we were having a party, people over, whatever, great wine, really good wine. I'm not ready to give it an 8 yet, but I fully respect your 8.
Well, thank you for that.
And I have to say, I was not expecting much out of this wine, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
So we're going to take a break, and we're going to try our last wine. Okay, we're back and we are ready to try our last wine. This is the Aix Rosé. It's A-I-X, but it's pronounced X, evidently. This is from the Coteau d'Aix in Provence, France. It's a 2022 as well. It was also $18.99 on sale at QFC, which is our local Kroger. Also 13% alcohol. It's 60% Grenache, 20% Syrah, 20% Cinsault, and Tasting Panel gave it a 93, and Jimmy Suckling gave it a surprising 90.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so what are you smelling? Or any comments?
Well, it's a cool bottle. Mm-hmm. We were saying, it's just a pretty basic label, but it's very, I kind of pretty though, like that little design at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a great bottle. Yeah. I like it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's not like the beach. It's not like floofy.
No.
It's pretty plain. But anyway, and it's very similar color, very light similar. Coral pink.
What are you smelling actually?
The first smell I got was kind of a earthy, like grass kind of smell. Okay. I got something like that on it. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit surprised to get that. But I'm smelling strawberries. Maybe, you know what it is? Maybe it's like a not quite ripe strawberry or a strawberry in the leaves or strawberry in the dirt.
Like the bramble, little strawberry bramble. I'm thinking,
like you just picked it and you got a little dirt in that smell as well.
Ooh, yeah. I'm getting some citrus on this one too, for sure. They're pretty. When I first smelled it, this seemed a little more pungent or just like a little more on the nose, but it's pretty similar smelling to the last one. I'm getting a little bit of minerality, as you would say. And a little bit of strawberry too.
It is a slightly different blend. They, because the beach had. Oh no! It's similar blend.
It's
Sorry, similar blend.
Maybe one grape off.
No, it's actually the same. I thought it had Carignan in it, but the first one did, but it actually didn't. It's these 3 grapes. It's just they don't tell you what the blend percentage is in the first one. So not surprising that they smell very similar. They're from the same region and the same grapes. Let's taste it. And sorry, one last thing. I got a little whiff. Sometimes they say like orchard fruits or whatever, but a little bit. I think that's right, but like a peach, a little bit of peach.
Okay, yeah. Nectarine, peach.
Yeah. Stone fruit. That's stone fruit, not orchard fruit. Stone fruit.
I know. I thought you were going to say apple. But.
Yeah. Orchard fruit is more apple and pear and that kind of stuff. Okay, let's try it. Ooh. Wait, it's very tart.
It is quite tart.
It's very tart.
It's almost like, tacky.
It'd smack you in the face tart.
Woo, yeah. More tart than, and not as fruity. I'm not getting as much strawberry on it.
It also has almost no finish. Like it's gone. It is gone off of my tongue.
Right off. Yeah.
Have any of that like lingering citrus or anything. It's like it's just a wham. It's a wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. It's like hit you in the face with a little like squirt of lime.
It is. Yeah. It's kind of exactly. It is very limey, lemony, almost like almost like the type of lemon you get in the little bottles.
Squeeze bottles. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty concentrated. This one for sure you should be eating with.
It's much more of a food wine. I don't feel like it's super citrusy. I don't feel like this is quite as much of a sit by the pool and sip wine. I feel like this is more of like sit at a table and eat with friends wine. Like not eat your friends, but eat with your friends.
Wow. Yeah. Fish and chips would be really good. I don't know if we're at that point yet, but I feel I could have fish and chips with this and just love it. Yeah, for sure. Fried food, I think salty foods, it would do well. Spicy foods. I actually, chicken dishes, seafood, I think like a seafood pasta or something would be really nice. Salmon would be good.
It's just a different wine experience.
Yeah.
It's very different. I feel like the first one, the Beach, is a little bit more like typical rosé, kind of what people think of when they think of a rosé. It's kind of fun and fruity and it's like this to me is a little bit, it might be a little bit, some people might disagree. It might be a little bit more sophisticated. Some people might say it's a little too sharp or severe, like it doesn't have that kind of fruitiness. So I think it really depends on what kind of wine you like.
Yeah. I feel like this could be kind of considered, the flavor is so intense, like that punch you in the face almost feel to it, or something, not punch you in the face, but something sharp, like you said. And that's why I don't know if you're going to be just sipping this and having it like as a standalone wine.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of bitterness on the end of it too. So, I don't know. I'm ready to judge it. I kind of feel like this one, I'm going to give it a 6. I like it. I like it. I would drink it. If I was served it, I would be happy. I don't know that I'm going to buy it.
I'm kind of with you. I'm going to give it a 6 as well.
Yeah. Like if I'm going to buy a rosé and I'm going to buy it for not just for me, but other people, of the two, I would get the Beach.
For sure. For sure. Interestingly enough, though, the label is so unique or so kind of standalone-ish that you have to have an occasion for it almost.
On the Beach?
Yeah.
No, I mean, maybe. I
don't know why.
A Barbie party?
Like, this is more neutral.
For your daughter? A Barbie party?
Oh, for our 24-year-old daughter, sure. Yeah. But I don't know. It's kind of, but again, I'm not going to buy this one before that other one. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So, Carmela, which of these two are you finishing tonight?
I'm going with the Beach.
Yeah, I think I am too. I feel a little bit bad to be bagging on this wine because it's not a bad wine.
I don't think we're bagging on it.
Yeah, we're not, because we're not saying we're pouring it down the sink. We're just not buy it. I am, the Beach. I gave it a 7. I might consider giving it an 8, but I'm going to stick with my rating. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Okay, yeah.
So I think we're both on the same page. Now, here are taste profiles expected from Provence Rosé wines. Strawberry, watermelon, citrus, peach, minerals, spice, flowers.
Okay.
The Beach by Whispering Angel. The winery says great aromatic freshness on the nose, followed by more subtle fruity notes on the palate. The freshness is coupled with exceptional length and roundness, crisp and suave. The wine enthusiast says this is full of ripe fruits and red currant flavors.
Okay.
The wine flyer says this wine has an exceptional freshness on the palate. I would agree with that. Clean and crisp with light red berries, melon, and a long round finish. So I think I said watermelon in the Rhine. You said
lots of
strawberry.
Minerality piece. Yep.
So I think we got that. In the Aix Rosé, the winery says a swirl lifts the intense nose of fresh peach juice, raspberries, and white floral blossom to the fore. I don't think in either of these we talked about flowers.
I didn't really get a lot of that, especially actually not this X.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, maybe a touch in the first one, but not a lot of floral.
I agree with you. Fresh stone fruit, raspberries, and the classic cranberry tang lead the palate and balance the fine acid tension. Finishes with a refreshingly long, dry, and balanced mineral line. Now, I would say mineral, it was not long. No. It was very dry.
I agree.
The tasting panel says key lime, juicy watermelon, and a steely undertone bring it to life. Creamsicle lights up the finish.
I'm not getting cream.
We just didn't get a lot of finish on this wine.
Yeah.
And James Suckling said a medium-bodied fruity rosé with lots of peach, melon, and grapefruit aromas.
Okay.
Round and creamy with a velvety finish.
I'm not really getting creamy. I'm getting more bitter and tart.
I don't know. Did we get a bad bottle? I don't know. But I wasn't getting any of that. We did serve it super cold.
True.
So it might be also one of those.
Sit around.
Where it's not like the Beach. I think I would serve it super cold. This one, I don't know. Maybe you don't need to serve it quite as cold.
Right.
But anyway, we did okay with our tastings.
Yeah,
we got
I think
a lot
so.
Of those things,
and the Beach, I'm digging it.
And I'm glad that you are. All right, Carmela, what is your final verdict on Rosé from Provence?
I like it. I'm definitely going to be exploring more of it.
But don't you think that is kind of like when you think of rosé, like the Beach, that's kind of like, the first thing you think of would be a wine like that.
Yeah,
Even though there are lots of different types of rosé.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so Carmela, it's time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to subscribe and follow our podcast. And also leave us a really nice rating and review. And that will help us grow our listeners. And we'd love to hear from you about a wine you'd like us to taste and review or something you want us to talk about. So you can leave a message for us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can join our email newsletter there. And you can always email me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. I'll share the email with Carmela. I always do. It's really giving it.
I'm writing it down.
That's right. With that, we're going to sign off, and we want to say thank you once again, and we'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And the happy ending at the end of our story. Always think too much. Always drink too much. Always pray too much. Always play too much. And when I'm with you too much, I fall in love too much. And when I'm away too much,